So I'm Austen, this is Ali Husk, and this is Eric Osterman, and we are in flood. High waters. High waters. What comes to mind when you hear that term? For some, it may be Johnny's jeans that were made for a toddler and sit so low or sit so high on his body that when he sits down you can see his kneecaps.
Oh!
For us, we think of the most widespread natural disaster in the world. You know, the one that engulfs cities, destroys lives and homes, and costs a fortune to not only the citizens of this country, but the governments as well. Yes, I'm talking about flooding. Now, how can we stop this? Well, truthfully, we can. But we can do a heck of a lot better at taking preventative measures than we currently have implemented. And Eric's going to show you how.
So like Austen said, 90% of all natural disasters involve some sort of flooding. These floods have cost our federal government approximately $333 million a year. It also costs individuals in this country about $771 million in uncompensated losses. These floods actually take a very large toll on local economies and governments as well. In the year of flooding, municipal spending goes down, municipal debt increases, and then it is proven that employment decreases by 3.4% in these years. So when we're trying to collect data and figure out what we could do to improve these tactics, we talked to hydrologists such as Jeffrey Woods at the Indiana-Kentucky Water Science Center, engineers such as David Knight at the Indiana Department of Natural Resources Water Division. We talked to local farmers and emergency officials, and the common theme that kept coming up was forecasting and how it can be improved. So what's done now is there is a combination of shaft encoders, pressure sensors, and radar sensors. The pressure sensors just gauge the stream flow, and then the shaft encoders just use electromagnetic waves. And what these three do in combination is give us one spatial feature. So our idea is to change to all ultrasound radar sensors to give a three-dimensional view. So on the picture on the left here, this is the 3 dimensions that we will be able to monitor. And on the right is an example of the ultrasound sensor. And what it does is it'll give off sound waves. And these sound waves will bounce off and be able to give us the water levels, the bank overflows, the ground surface and the runoff areas. And in combination with the precipitation and water level records, this will assist in disaster relieving operations. And what these can also do is track the crests of the flood and monitor when it gets to sensitive areas such as bridges, roads, and towns like that. So this technology is used in Iowa, which is our nation's leader in hydrology, and similar technology is also being used at the Texas Advanced Consulting Center at the University of Texas, and they have done major improvements to the National Stream Flow Simulator.
So who are we marketing to? We'll be marketing to state governments as well as news and weather stations. And ultimately, through these channels, we'll be able to reach out to farmers, to traffic goers, as well as homeowners. Now, since agriculture is such a big revenue stream for the state of Indiana, we're actually moving farmers up to part of our primary market, who we're primarily marketing to. We've done some research and found out that there are 16 million acres in the state of Indiana of farmland. And the majority of these farmlands have to deal with some type of flooding. So what makes a difference? We're improving forecasting as well as coming up with a technology that will reduce government spending by making it a one-time expense. As Eric stated earlier, we currently use shaft encoders as well as pressure sensors. Now, pressure sensors have to be recalibrated every 6 months and are easily damaged. Shaft encoders are also easily damaged and could potentially be lost by a rapid water level change. Again, to add something to what Eric said, Texas and Iowa have come up with a technology that have improved the national stream flow simulation from 10 hours to 3.5 seconds. That's huge. The product itself actually has little to no maintenance. We'll also add quicker updates as well as assisting disaster relief operations. Now for our business model canvas and our value proposition, we kind of tied it into how we differentiate ourselves. We're improving forecasting. We're going from a more reactionary process to a more preventative process, as well as adding a dollar reduction to the city and decreasing damage. Our key resources are going to be Katera as well as other developers, and our key activities are going to be research and development, beta testing. We're going to develop a board which Katera will be a part of, and we're going to repurpose personnel that would otherwise go out and manually collect this data. Our key metrics are going to be the number of devices that we're going to use, which is about 150 for the state of Indiana, and this will help our community.
And our customer relationships are going to be initially, the state governments that we rely on to get these radar sensors implemented. And manufacturers and IT developers are actually going to develop the system of linkage between the sensors and our mobile application systems. And the customer channels are going to be mobile applications of which daily consumers use and rely on for that constant flooding information. National news and weather websites for people that don't have a smartphone, and government alerts who will be able to alert them preventatively before the flooding occurs versus reactionary. Now for cost structure, while we still haven't been able to calculate an actual figure number for the expense and damage that we're going to be saving, we have a 2-year reduction plan where we will measure and evaluate the radar sensors to see just how much damage savings and cost reductions we've incurred. We did calculate there's going to be 150 of these sensors in Indiana, and the cost for one is $1,637. So we calculated 1,637 times 150 is $245,550, which is a pretty large chunk of change. And also our revenue streams, because we figured out a way to monetize this through yearly subscriptions for our customer segments that Allie will tell you about.
Our customer segments are going to be farmers and emergency management officials. For emergency management officials, as I stated in the value proposition, we're going to go from a more reactionary process to a more preventative process. For farmers, we actually spoke with a friend of mine who's a local farmer, and he said the weather is his worst enemy, especially when it comes to rain and flooding. If a flood comes by and takes some of his crop that he's just planted, then he's going to have to go back and replant that crop. Now when it comes time to harvest that crop, it may not have matured enough for it to be able to sell on the market, and that's a big issue for him. And Indiana, as I stated, was a high agriculture state. He said that if he were to get even a couple hours heads up, he'd be able to save more than half of his crop.
So in closing, not only does this have the potential to save lives, but it also has the ability to produce capital gain. But the key value derived from this preventative movement is going to be focused on cost reduction. Thank you.
All right.